Hey guys, it's Kina here, and just kind of wanted to share with you a book I read over the weekend, which is The 4 Hour Work Week. I revisited that book, and it's one of those books I've read many, many years ago, and I just wanted to kind of touch up on it because it is in my top 10, that particular book, right? So it's called The 4 Hour Work Week. It's by Timothy Ferriss. So I thought I'll share a quick few lessons I learned, and perhaps that would add value to you guys in thinking about how you can become more productive in your lives and in your practices. So this book was more like a fun fantasy than anything else, than a reality, right? When you read this book, like, it kind of makes you think, what kind of lives are we living? Because Timothy Ferriss, right, figured out a way where he could make, I mean, there used to be a point where he used to work an 80-hour work week, right? Then he went down to 40 hours, and eventually he went to 4 hours. To most of us, that is like a fantasy and not even a reality, that how can we work minimally but be maximally productive, right? And so that's what I wanted to share, the lessons, a quick few lessons I learned in that particular book, right? So what it shares right now is that most of us think most of us think or claim that we are very busy, yet activity does not mean productivity. Now, I need you guys to understand that very clearly. Activity, by claiming that you're busy, 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 busy all the time, does not mean that you're productive. Most people, when I ask them, most entrepreneurs, when I'm coaching them on success coaching, and I ask them, how is your life? And they claim that it's busy, 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 busy. But when I really drill down on how they're leading their lives and leading their work, they're really not productive. So activity does not mean productivity, and that's what the book is all about. So Timothy Ferriss is sharing that how can you become more productive? So how can you be more result driven rather than activity driven? So I want you guys to get that point very clearly. How can you be more result driven than activity driven, and claiming that you're busy, busy, busy all the time? And the way he talks about this is that it's about embracing two laws of productivity. The first one is what we call the Pareto's laws. Now, most of you guys know that 80% of results come from the 20% of effort you put in there, right? That's what Pareto principle is. That's what Pareto's law is. So what Timothy did, basically figured out that in one of his story was in one of the businesses he was working, right? He realized that 80%, like 20% of his clients gave 80% of his revenue, made him the 80% of revenue, right? And now I was kind of thinking in my practice, especially in small concepts, how have we been embracing that, right? So what kind of patients is bringing 80% of the revenue? And then I figured out in my practice it happens the same, that it's only 20% of patients, which is relatively 20 to 30% of patients, which is relatively bringing majority of the income in my practice, right? And it is the kind of work we like doing in our practice as well, which is a little bit of the high end. But we were not like that back in the day, right? So we started thinking about this Pareto's principle, that if you want to increase the revenue of your practice and become more productive, how do you go about marketing? How do you go about inviting or getting more leads with more high-end patients? Then how do you go about converting them? So that's what I want you guys to think about, that understanding. It's the same thing as saying that, remember, 80% of the headaches are coming from 20% of your patients. So what Timothy did also, he ended up firing the 2 to 3% of his clients because they were bringing the most headaches, right? So he got just rid of them. Then he started focusing 80% of his time on the 20% of clients which were bringing the most income. But he also started marketing how could he get more of those high-end clients who are paying 80% of his revenue. So remember, this book is about increasing your productivity and not just claiming that you're busy, busy, busy and getting or drowning yourself in activity, right? So one of his principles was this, the Pareto principle. And I want you guys to think about this principle in detail, that how do you go about, getting 80% of your results in 20% of your effort. So in his story, like I said, that he fired 2-3% of his clients which were giving a lot of headaches to him, and we have that in our businesses as well, where we those patients we have which are constantly draining the lifeblood of the practice, right? And sometimes we just need to let them go, right? And then, but at the same time, we have only that cream 20% of clients, which is bringing 80% of revenue. That doesn't mean we don't service the rest. It just means that how do we go about in our business strategies to get more of the high-end client, or more of the cream as we call it, right? So that's one law of productivity. The second law of productivity, and he was talking about, is Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law basically means that time, your effort expands and contract according to how much you invest in, which is basically what it means that, in his example, when he was in college or university, he was meant to write a paper and hand it in to the professor, right, about a business, about the model of a business. So he's breaking down this business and how this business was successful. At the last minute, at the last moment, almost 24 hours before he handed the project in, the company he was writing this report on refused him to share that information. So he went to the professor and asked, can I get more time to do another project? And the professor turned back to him and said, you know what, you will be fine. You have the time which has been given to you, you will be fine. So what happened to him was, within 24 hours, he researched another business and came up with an amazing project and handed it in. And of course, he scored really high in that. What he was trying to say in that example, which is the Parkinson's law, is that when we have time pressure, sometimes we end up doing much better. It's like, have you ever experienced that when you have a project to do or something to complete and you don't set a deadline to it, right? You keep on dwelling on it and going and procrastinating and acting and etc., right? But if you set a time pressure to it, you get it done instantly. It's also happened to us before holidays. When we go away on holidays and we know that we have to finish this 1, 2, or 3 things, right? We get onto it very fast and get it completed. This is what he means by Parkinson's law, that all of us need to give ourselves time pressure and be more focused and get it done, right? Most of the work, like even think about yesterday, the things that really gave you success, or which leads to your success, right, is only limited in a short period of time, right? You don't need to spend too much time doing it. So this is what Parkinson's law is about. So basically, the 2 laws of productivity was the Pareto's laws and the Parkinson's laws on how to become more productive and not get drowned in activity where you're claiming you're busy. So busy is not a form of being productive or getting results. At the conclusion, he made us realize, or made me realize especially, that most things, right, are not important. Most things are not important in work, in terms of work-wise, right? And those things that are important can be done in a very short period of time. Let me repeat that again, and this is a very superb point which I want to drill into everyone, and I want you to take away, which is, most things that you think are not really going to help you in your productivity or getting results. And the things that are going to really help you only take a little bit of time if you're super focused to get it done, right? And the way we can train ourselves is to wake up every morning and tell ourselves, what are the 3 things I have to achieve today, right? And what is the time I'm going to set away without any distractions and get it and be focused and get it done. This allowed Timothy Ferriss, right, to work from an 80 to 40-hour work week to eventually a 4-hour work week. Now, I don't know, as dentists, whether we can work 4-hour work week. I'm at a point in my life where I'm working not more than 10 hours a week in terms of dentistry. But when I'm reflecting back that how it's allowed me to do this, it's because I've followed these 2 rules unconsciously over the years. And Timothy Ferriss reminded me about that. It's probably in his book that I learned about this, right? Back in the day. You know how things just get ingrained in yourselves. So these 2 laws, right? The Pareto law and the Parkinson's law. So how do you get more focused, more productive in a short period of time and not worried about things that are not essential? So it's a great book to read, 4-Hour Work with Timothy Ferriss. I hope this short video gave you enough value to take away, and it's a summary on its own. It's a beautiful book if you want to go read it, but it's a summary on its own that today onwards, focus on being result oriented and not activity focused, where you're claiming to be busy, 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 busy. So that's all, guys. I'm sitting in this beautiful background right now. Behind me, I don't know what the hell I'm sitting in right now. Yeah, it's beautiful though. Take care, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing day, amazing week, and I will be leaving more short videos like this so you guys can get value of it. If you please like this video. Please do comment on it, because I would like to answer some questions if you have. Maybe a healthy debate is always good, but here we go. Show me a like, show me a love, and let me make more videos for you. Take care, guys, and have a great day.